Happy Sunday, fun day. Oh man, let me know down below if you have played Resident Evil 9, because Resident Evil 9 is unbelievable. Oh, it's even unbelievable in the sense that, like, you got the actual traditional zombies that makes Resident Evil. I do want to upload some Resident Evil content, although, I mean, I understand a lot of you all are not hardcore Resident Evil fans like me, and I totally understand. My channel is built around RuneScape, not nutrition, not it's Resident Evil, not 7 Days to Die, not Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. You know, it's built around RuneScape. I totally get it. But if you are considering about Resident Evil 9, if it's a good or bad, option, it is a phenomenal game. No, I'm not being sponsored. I wish I was. But, yeah, Resident Evil 9 is unbelievable. Very much old school style Resident Evil genre in general. Okay, so uploading new video to my main channel. It's on gambling, and I'm gonna actually be releasing probably some videos over the next couple weeks about different time periods on the game when it comes to gambling. Let alone, I kind of really want to make some montage of different just like areas in general. Oopsies, what just happened? Oopsie daisy. Okay, there we go. The bung board just the virtual bung board just turned into the whiteboard here. Okay, hang on, I gotta eliminate clans. This video is kind of going to be like a wide range of topics here. Anyways, so yes, I did also get 95 agility. We'll talk about that momentarily. Agility is it just needs to be friggin' over. That's about it. The skill needs to be done because it's not fun. It really isn't. I want to get back to playing like I could theoretically play Resident Evil and theoretically AFK on RS3 or old school RuneScape. Sailing would be awesome, but of course Resident Evil has to be released when I already get 99 sailing, right? But I don't have the pet. So that's always there too. Anyways, like I was saying, I want to be doing a different types of videos about like the timeline on this game, because this game has undergone like a very unique timeline where if you are new to the game, you're kind of really forgetting history. Maybe I'm just a very big history buff. I definitely am. I mean, if I actually could go back, I would have actually gotten my bachelor's in history. Can you get a master's in being I'm pretty sure you can. Almost positive you definitely can. That would actually be pretty cool, though. But, I mean, history in general has always just fascinated me. And when you have a game like RuneScape, which is the greatest game ever, there was a point in time where if you said those words, you got actually put down. Yeah, it's not like that anymore. RuneScape is the greatest game ever. It truly is. But, if you look back on the RuneScape timeline, you have a very, very forgotten timeline of RuneScape Classic, which I cannot relate to. And I really wish I got into RuneScape, like, very early. I was on the internet at the age of 12, and I was primarily on Battle.net with Diablo 2 and StarCraft. And, during that time period of 2000, yeah, I mean, I could have theoretically started playing RuneScape then. I mean, imagine if I started playing RuneScape when, like, RuneScape Classic actually launched. Oh, man, the gains that I would have on my RS3 account would be just crazy. I'd probably have a party hat set, probably have a Christmas cracker, probably have multiple rare items. I don't know why, because I think I'd have the same mentality as I did back then. I could very much picture myself just collecting like so many of the rare items, kind of like on old school RuneScape I have in a way, in my old school RuneScape bank, even though they're absolutely useless. But I have a lot of rare items just to kind of just have them. And I could definitely see myself doing that. Although by me playing in 2005, I definitely entered into the second time period of RuneScape. So I definitely want to be making some really good videos covering different histories of the game, especially for anyone that has started really playing RuneScape back when old school RuneScape really became extremely popular around 2015, 2016. A lot of people kind of influxed into the old school RuneScape community, primarily because of Twitch TV streamers. I did a lot of streaming on old school RuneScape during that time period too. Iron Man content. It drew in a tremendous amount of new players. Not a bad thing. But when you draw in a lot of new players, I mean, probably some don't really give a flying fuck in a way. Some do. If I am a new player to a game, I do want to learn its history. But then again, I'm biased because I'm a history buff. Like, hypothetically, if I have never played Resident Evil and I chose to start playing Resident Evil 9, right? Would I personally look back on the history of Resident Evil games or maybe watch some videos? I would, okay? I would tremendously do that. Now, would the average person do that? Well, the average person that got into Resident Evil was actually Resident Evil 4. And that was during 2004, I believe Resident Evil 4 came out. Don't quote me on that. Did Resident Evil 4 come out 2004? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it did. Hold on. So many people got into Resident Evil 4 because it's a first-person shooter. How many of those people played Resident Evil Director's Cut? This guy. How many people remember on Comedy Central during South Park Resident Evil 2 advertisements? This guy. How many people made their mom get in line to buy Resident Evil 3 Nemesis? I wasn't allowed to buy Resident Evil 3 Nemesis because obviously I wasn't 18 years old, so I made my mom do it. Yeah, that's right, huh? Resident Evil actually was on the verge of going bankrupt, believe it or not. They were losing a lot of money. Resident Evil 4 saved the industry. So you can really argue that old school RuneScape really saved RuneScape in general too, because if old school RuneScape didn't launch, RS3 would just be dwindling away. And that's pretty unbelievable, right? It really is when you think about it. I actually saw a comment yesterday from someone saying that they do agree with what I say all the time. Old school RuneScape was created by EOC, so therefore you got to kind of respect EOC in a way. But on a side note, it really sucks, and people really wish that EOC never happened. That's actually even more of a strong statement than saying that EOC created old school RuneScape, and that is very true, because a lot of people on old school RuneScape are very much wishing that EOC never happened. Imagine if EOC and the Squeal of Fortune never happened. Imagine if 2012 in an alternate universe, instead of adding the Squeal of Fortune, Jagex added something different. And imagine if Evolution of Combat was struck down. What would that be like? Well, we're not in an alternate universe. Maybe someday we might be. But I mean, things would be entirely different, right? Pretty crazy. So, I started playing on this game during the RuneScape 2. RuneScape 2 Part 1. Now, RuneScape 2 Part 2 is obviously after the Grand Exchange and pretty much the trade limit. And then you get, then basically you have RuneScape 2 Part 3, which is Evolution of Combat. That is essentially Part 3 of RuneScape 2. And then it turns into RuneScape 3. And then old school RuneScape has gone through transformations too. RuneScape 2007 with no Grand Exchange. Then it became old school RuneScape. And then it basically transformed even further into pretty much doing the opposite of RS3 in the sense of a lot of Slayer monsters, which are just out of this world friggin' awesome. And then you even now have a new skill, which is even further away from RuneScape 3. I honestly feel that old school RuneScape is still on part 2 time frame. And what I mean by that is that you have part 1 of RS2, basically 2004 up until the end of 2007, and then part 2 of RuneScape 2 was the Grand Exchange up to EOC. Old school RuneScape, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, but or maybe we're honestly in like a different phase of old school RuneScape. I don't really believe we are though. We're just on the glory days of old school RuneScape. The game is definitely getting better by the months and by the updates here. So that's very much how RuneScape 2 was pretty much going. Everything was just on a upward trajectory and then just woo! What the? You mean we can buy Squeal of Fortunes? What? Like, this is not RuneScape. What the hell is this, man? Even with sailing, nobody, like, okay, some people said that, but a lot of those people I really feel are just irritated because they lost their max cape. But overall, I mean, a lot of people, from what I gathered when sailing came out a couple months ago, I really didn't get a vibe that, hey, this is not old school RuneScape, because the style of gameplay is very much RuneScape, medieval days. We haven't transformed. Oh, and this is another thing too that's very arguable on RS2. So on RuneScape 2 before EOC, the hit points changed to a 3-digit system. Yeah, we are very much on like, I want to say part 1 of old school RuneScape, or maybe part 2 if you consider 2007 to be very much the part 1 and stuff. I mean, obviously, I'll be making videos about this very much in depth, and I'll give my honest opinion. Would really love to know from you all. But yes, on RS3, before EOC came out, because before EOC, the hit points was a 3-digit system. And that ended up pissing off so many people. So many people were like, why is Jagex doing this? This is stupid. I even said, like, this is, like, retarded. Like, this is just stupid. Little did we know they were getting us ready for EOC, right? Oh, yeah. I mean, EOC is a 4-digit hit point system. So your hit points go to 9,990. It's pretty crazy and wonky. Very much like Diablo, very much like World of Warcraft in general. But we are very much, in my opinion, still like part 1, or I should say part 2 of old school RuneScape, which was the glory days of RuneScape 2, which was part 2 of RuneScape 2. Post the Grand Exchange, pre-EOC, essentially, right? So stay tuned for that video. I'm probably going to do that on my main channel, and it's probably going to be like a mighty longer video than like shorter videos per se, but it's going to be really good content, really good for like a in-depth style of like an episode and stuff. Otherwise, as for today, probably not going to be doing a lot of agility. I gotta very much be grinding some Resident Evil. Once I really start playing a new Resident Evil game, I can't stop until I just go ahead and beat the thing. And yeah, I'm going to be doing that. Otherwise, agility, like I said, it is a very unique, and I just need this to be over as soon as possible. The faster this is going to be done, the faster I can move on to another interactive thing that I can't really ignore. I mean, I don't have any AFKing ones left. The days of AFKing and nightmares is kind of really over now, per se. even though you can really say doing Zia Blood Moons, that is in theory very AFKable because there's some mining aspect to it. But to get to that level, it's going to require a lot of interactiveness, especially me at Guardians of the Rift, right? All right, so I'm going to wrap up today's vlog with basically this note here. Stay tuned for new content. Definitely check out my video on my main channel when it's uploaded. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in a few. Let me know down below if you are a Resident Evil fan at all. Let me know in some comments pretty much about everything that I've talked about, RuneScape timelines and history, because it is definitely very unique that we have gone through so many changes on this game. And if you have been here over the years, you have seen a tremendous amount of change in the RuneScape universe. Oh yeah, it is one simulation, man. It's unbelievable. All right, later everyone.